So here are a few steps I do to winterize my bike for the winter. I live in central New York, so the weather gets bad for months at a time. So you want to make sure when you start that bike up in the spring, it actually starts up. And a couple of things I've followed for the past 15 years of riding with my 3 bikes, and I usually don't really have any issues with my bikes come the spring. So number one thing, you want to have it stored somewhere, whether it's a shed, a garage. I put my bike in the garage. It's not heated. Have somewhere where you can have it in shelter, so it's not right in the elements. If you don't have that, if you have no access to it, make sure just at least get a really high quality cover for it. At least don't just leave it out in the snow, because it's just going to destroy the bike, the appearance and mechanically. So I would not do that. So first thing I do is I make sure I wash the bike. I clean the bike really well before I'm going to store it. I have a brush. I clean off the chain really well. So have the bike start off clean bike, and then after I have my chain clean, I spray the chain with lubricant. So I do that throughout the year, but spray it with lubricant, start off storing it with the chain sprayed and well maintained. I've had this bike for 11 years. I haven't replaced the chain since I've owned it. So just make sure you spray that chain before you store it. So now the tank's full, it's clean. I filled, well, I don't know if I said I fill the tank with gas. So I've always was told it helps reduce that moisture building up in the tank. So I always make sure my tank's full. And then BMW F800R tank's back here. Make sure my tank is full. And then I have a fuel stabilizer I add just to help with that as well, that moisture buildup, things like that. So put your fuel stabilizer in there as well. I'm not even close to being a mechanic. I almost do none of my work myself on my bike, but these basic things anybody can do. If you're like myself with zero mechanical ability, you can still prep your bike for the winter properly so it works in the spring. So you put your fuel stabilizer in there. Make sure you check your tire pressure. Make sure your tire pressure is good to go. Just have your little digital reader. That's what I find easiest. Tire pressure is good. And then check your oil. Make sure I only get my oil changed once a year. I take it somewhere. Cost is pretty low, but end of the year, I just, throughout the season and at the end of the year, I just make sure I check my oil, make sure my oil levels are good. And then after that, I hook it to a battery tender. So I don't keep it to the battery tender 100% of the time. There's years I didn't put it at all. And then come spring, I have to pay $160 for a new battery. So you want to avoid that. Put it to a battery tender. Like I said, you don't. This year I was more consistent with hooking it up off and on, but I didn't keep it up on the battery tender 100% of the time. It started right up when I started it earlier today and last week, so no issues. Just off and on, keeping it on that battery tender is really important. Check out my how to charge your battery for this specific bike, because the battery is actually at the front, normally where your gas tank's at. So make sure you have that battery charging, because you could go the cheap route for a battery, like $60, and you'll definitely regret it. I did a little bit higher quality battery last year, $150, $160, and keeping it on the battery tender, it works perfectly, as I was saying when I started back up this year. So now that's simple steps to make sure your bike is prepped and ready to go. So the last thing I do out throughout the season, central New York, a lot of bad weather. So I start the bike up off and on. It may be just, there's tons of snow on our driveway. So I just open the garage door, back the bike up to the edge, start the bike just for a minute, and then turn it off. I know some may have disagreements on that, because you're not truly charging the battery unless the bike's moving, but I still just start it up, let it run for a second, off and on throughout the season. I think that's beneficial, and it's worked for me for the past 15 years. And the only time I've had a mechanical issue, not really a mechanical issue, it was my own fault by not consistently keeping my battery on a battery tender. So those are my steps, simple steps to follow. You want to, maintain your bike. You want to have that relief of when you come out in the spring. Those simple things you need to follow that have helped me the past 15 years, and come out and bike starts up instead of my bike doesn't start, or am I going to have to replace or repair or fix? So simple things to make sure you're prepped, your bike is prepped, ready to go for the winter. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.